Alright, so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about slope. Okay, we're going to start out by giving a couple of definitions or explanations of slope. Slope can be defined as the vertical change over the horizontal change. It can also be described as being the change in the output value over the change in the input value, the change in the dependent variable over the change in the independent variable, or last but not least, it could also be described as rise over run. When we talk about rise over run, we of course are talking about the graph of two ordered pairs and how much it rises or falls compared to how much it runs. Okay. Slope can also be described as a comparison of two numbers or a rate of change. A lot of times when we're talking about slope in the context of a word problem, you'll see words such as each, per. If we're talking about money, it's going to be that it's X number of dollars per hour. Uh, if you read 5 books in 3 hours, that's a rate, it's a comparison. Okay, so we're taking that comparison and we're making it uniform. Okay. The next thing that we're going to talk about is we're actually going to do an example. And we're going to use these two ordered pairs here, 2, 7, and 4, -3. And I'm going to do it two different ways. All right? I'm going to graph it, but I'm also going to use the formula. Okay? And I'm going to start out by giving you the formula. The formula is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, we're going to take and we're going to label these ordered pairs as x1, y1, x2, y2. Then we just go ahead and substitute in and simplify. That would be -3 minus 7 over 4 minus 2. On top, we would have -10. On the bottom, we would have 2. So when we simplify that, the slope is going to be -5. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and graph the ordered pairs just so that we can kind of check, and you can see that either method would work. So I'm going to start out by graphing 2, 7. I go over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put my order pair there, 2, 7. Then to graph 4, -3, I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. I go down 1, 2, 3, and put a point, and that is 4, -3. And I'm going to go ahead and erase all those little points that we don't need. And since we're graphing the order pairs and we're trying to find the slope of a line, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line through there. So there's our line. Right. Next thing we need to do is draw in our right triangle. We're going to start out at the leftmost point right there, and we're going to figure out how many spaces we go down, and then we'll figure out how many spaces we go over. And if we count, it gives us 10, and since we're going down, it's going to be negative. If we look at our run, how much we go over, it's 2 spaces. So for this problem, in the rise over run, it would be -10 over 2, which is -5 when we simplify. All right. And if you notice, which way does the line fall with our negative slope? Our negative slope, we always think of it from left to right, so it falls to the right. Okay. If we had a line that had positive slope, okay, and I'll draw a quick sketch there. We have positive slope, okay. Positive slope, we would say that that rises to the right. All right, 2 other points that we need to talk about for before tomorrow. We need to talk about vertical and horizontal lines. You'll see the vertical line here in red. This is vertical. And we're also going to talk about horizontal over here in blue. Okay. So there's our vertical and our horizontal lines. What I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to look at this. All right. And if we do rise over run, if we just start at the top point and go down, we go down 4 spaces, but then we don't go over any. So that is 4 over 0, which you cannot divide by 0, so therefore it is undefined. Okay? We do it over here for our horizontal. We don't go up or down any, so rise over run, we're not going any, and then we go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, we just picked points, all right? You could have chosen any points on those lines, but when we simplify that, 0 over 4, slope is 0. And that's going to be true for any horizontal line, just like the slope of any vertical line will be undefined. Okay? And that's all we're going to talk about for slope today.